Welcome back, Kaiju fans. A little bit of a collective update video here for the past couple of days since I've been out of town. First off is the picture that we've received of the release schedule of Godzilla Monster Planet, and this is the list determining the years in which the two sequels come out. And that is 2 movies in 1 year. Both the second and third films for the Godzilla Monster Planet trilogy will be releasing in 2018, which is kind of interesting considering that would have been the only year in the next upcoming Godzilla films that didn't have a film releasing in it, since 2017 we're getting the first Monster Planet film, and then 2019 and 2020 we're getting the next 2 installments of the Monsterverse. So it's interesting to see Toho releasing 2 movies in 2018, of the both being of the Godzilla Monster Planet trilogy, the second and final film if they do not continue it later on. So definitely exciting there. I'm wondering if they're going to get a bigger team to work on the film to be able to release 2, unless they're doing like a mid-year and then a end-of-the-year release. So we're going to get one at the end of this year, the beginning or the middle of 2018, and then the end of 2018. So it's definitely exciting. I'm glad they're doing this. That actually really kind of is going to keep the interest for this trilogy like collected, because the movies are going to be coming out within such a short time frame of each other, and that's really going to help out the franchise, and that's good for everything else too, with other figure releases and things like that. So I'm always open to that. And then next would be the San Diego Comic-Con Mothra image that was released, showing the adult Mothra, 2 larvae, and nobody's really talked about this that I've seen yet so far. On the top of this picture there is an egg which is almost surrounded by what looks like vines or bones. So in the center we have Mothra that looks like Mothra. There's really not much we can tell from the picture besides wing pattern that looks like a Mothra wing pattern. The lower half of the body looks to be a little bit more almost armored or cocooned. It's not the traditional almost like B-stripe pattern of like brown that Mothra generally has. It's kind of got this almost H shape to it with 4 dots. And then the head looks a little less circular than usual, which makes sense because a moth's body is usually just a cylinder, not a cylinder with a additional super circular head on there. And then the antennae do look relatively thick. They're not like wiry or anything like that, but I mean, the wings look like Mothra wings. They don't look super huge. They look reasonable. The larvae are a different story. They're harder to tell. They don't look as long as the traditional Toho larvae do, and they look like they have more individualized larger legs instead of the more caterpillar style legs that the Toho franchise did, which makes sense. I mean, it's basically a caterpillar. And I mean, they look okay. They look like their heads are a lot smaller too. They almost look like they have a large neck region and a smaller head on the front of it, as opposed to being that whole section being the head like we're used to. So it's a little different. I mean, the generalized difference is that they look like they're way shorter, and then the front half is going to be always lifted maybe. And then the egg on top that nobody seems to be discussing, probably because there's no design on it whatsoever. It's just an egg, but I'm curious as to what the illustration is that whatever it is surrounding it is. That's kind of what's interesting me. Like, is it some kind of like nest that we're gonna see in the movie that maybe there is a hatched egg from, considering that we have confirmation from the Monarch timeline that Mothra is already in the cocoon stage of her lifespan for the upcoming film. So if we are going to see the larvae, it's going to be some kind of flashback. I don't really know how they're going to do that, though, considering the Monarch scientists have never seen it. Or we get the super overused storyline of Mothra goes to battle, is the weakest kaiju, dies. Egg on island hatches, larvae continue the fight. You know, if they could make Mothra just not die for once, that would be a good twist on things. And have us not see the overused storyline for the 1000th time. I would be okay with that. But we'll see, considering they had to sculpt out the larvae for some reason. Hopefully this is the only time we'll see the larvae. I really don't want that overused storyline in the movie again. Can we get something new for Mothra for once? Can we have her actually be useful in a fight and not die, and then have her kids fight for her because she couldn't fight for herself? That would be super cool. I'd be okay with that. Maybe I'd like the kaiju a little bit more, not being just a sacrificial pawn to the storyline. Nobody likes a sacrificial pawn. But that's really it. Weekend's been kind of interesting for Godzilla stuff, with 2 different franchises. I really don't think we're going to get much else out of Comic-Con for Godzilla news. I think that's wrapped up. But that's going to be it. Let me know what you guys think of the 2 movies releasing in 2018 and what you thought about the Mothra design, and if you noticed the egg on the top of the picture. But that's going to be it. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.